न्याय का सबके लिए, आकाश न्याय का सबके।
Namaskar. Myself, Sudhir Shirgaonkar, working as Deputy Registrar, High Court of Bombay at Goa. In Ayurveda, it is said Jaya Astam. Jaya means woman, Astam means home. The meaning is that woman is the home indeed. There is absolutely no doubt that woman is the nucleus of every family. But unfortunately, there are some homes where women suffer. To protect this suffering woman, our nation has given to us the law, the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. Today, we have with us Srimati Sahi Prabhudesai, Civil Judge Senior Division and JMFC Margao, who shall enlighten us on the subject. I welcome you, madam, to this program and request you to share your thoughts on this subject.
Namaskar. First, I would like to thank the Goa State Legal Services Authority for giving me this opportunity to speak on the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. India is a country where we worship women as goddesses, yet they are subjected to various kinds of abuse by men and sadly by women themselves. Domestic violence is one of such abuse which is prevalent in our society. It is one of the most pervasive violations of human rights, the least prosecuted crime, and one of the greatest threat to the development of the society. The phenomenon of domestic violence in India is widely prevalent. Where a woman is subjected to cruelty by her husband or his relatives, it is an offence under section 498A of the Indian Penal Code. And if the harassment is dowry related, it is an offence under the Dowry Prohibition Act. These are penal provisions, and the perpetrator, if found guilty, is punished by the court. The civil law does not address this phenomenon in its entirety. Therefore, in order to provide a remedy under the civil law to protect the woman who is a victim of domestic violence and to prevent the occurrence of domestic violence in the society, the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act was enacted. So what is domestic violence? Under the Act, domestic violence is defined to be an act of commission and omission or which causes physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal and emotional abuse, and economic abuse. The provision refers to commission of an act and omission to do an act. Commission is when an act of violence is committed by a person. Omission is when a person does not do an act which is bound to do, like the husband who does not act when violence is being committed against his wife. The failure on the part of the husband to pay maintenance to his wife and his children, failure to provide basic necessities to the wife and the children are some incidents of omission by the husband which result to domestic violence. Physical abuse is an act or conduct which causes bodily pain or harm or danger to the life or limb, like assault, criminal force, criminal intimidation, that is threat to life, limb, reputation or property. Sexual abuse includes any conduct or an act of sexual nature that abuses, humiliates, degrades and otherwise violates the dignity of a woman, like forcible sexual relation or forcing a woman to watch pornography, etc. Verbal and emotional abuse includes insults, ridicule, taunts, which undermines the self-esteem of a woman, like taunting her for her looks, her religion, her caste, her family, or for not bearing her child. Issuing threats to cause physical pain to any person in whom the aggrieved person is interested is also an incident of verbal and emotional abuse. Next is the economic abuse. Economic abuse includes deprivation of economic and financial resources which the aggrieved person is entitled to, like maintenance. The husband or the father is bound to pay maintenance to his wife and children. It is the legal as well as the moral duty of the person. If he fails to discharge this duty intentionally, it amounts to domestic violence. Deprivation of household necessities. Depriving a woman of her stridhan amounts to economic violence. Failure to pay rent of the premises where the aggrieved person resides. Disposal of household effects. Alienation of assets, movables and immovables. Restricting use of any resources or facilities which the aggrieved person is entitled to also amounts to economic abuse. Who is the aggrieved person who is entitled to reliefs under the Act? Aggrieved person is defined to be a woman who is in a domestic relationship with the respondent and who alleges to have been subjected by domestic violence. So, under the Act, the reliefs can be granted only to a woman. The provision speaks of domestic relationship. Domestic relationship is a relationship between two persons who live or have at any point of time lived together in a shared household. The relation may be by consanguinity, that is blood relationship. They may be related by adoption, or they may be the members of a joint family living together under one roof. The relation may be a marital relationship. The Act also provides for a relationship in the nature of marriage. For the first time under this Act, protection and reliefs are provided to a woman who might not be married and who might not have blood relationship with the respondent, and she is protected by the Act. Under Section 125 of the CRPC, maintenance can be given to the wife, mother or child. Section 498A of IPC prescribes punishment for ill treatment and cruelty meted out on a woman by her husband and his relatives. Under this Act, the victim may not be a married woman or may not be related by blood to the respondent. And relation in the nature of marriage may cover live-in relationship where both live as husband and wife, bear children, share assets, etc. Protection is also given to a woman harassed by her in-laws, even though her husband may not be a partisan in the act of violence. The orders under the Act can be passed against the respondent. The respondent is a male person who is in domestic relationship with the aggrieved person or his relatives. Here again, the definition has a wide scope and it includes a husband as well as the male partner and their relatives who are the perpetrators of the incidents of acts of domestic violence. The Act provides for various orders which can be passed by the magistrate in order to prevent and prohibit the acts of domestic violence and protect the victim. First are the protection orders. Protection orders can be passed to prevent or prohibit an act of domestic violence or aiding or abetting of the acts of domestic violence. The perpetrator can be stopped from entering the place of employment or any other place frequented by the aggrieved person. He can be stopped from communicating with the aggrieved person in any manner. He can be stopped from alienating any assets, operating bank lockers, joint bank accounts, alienating stridhan or any other property. He can be stopped from causing violence to the dependents, relatives who give assistance to the aggrieved person. Next are the residence orders. Orders can be passed to restrain the respondent from dispossessing or disturbing the possession of the aggrieved person from the shared household, whether or not he has the legal or equitable interest in the same. The aggrieved person has the right to reside in the shared household, whether or not she has the right, title or interest in the same, and she shall not be excluded or evicted from the shared household without following the due process of law. Again, the court need not go into the title of the house, and orders can be passed to protect the residence of the aggrieved person unless she is evicted by following the due process of law. In order to safeguard the residence and protect the aggrieved person, the court can even direct the respondent to remove himself from the shared household. However, such order cannot be passed against a woman. The respondent or his relatives can be restrained from entering any portion of the shared household where the aggrieved person resides. They can be restrained from alienating, disposing, encumbering, or renouncing the right in the shared household. The respondent can be directed to secure alternate accommodation of the same level or to pay the rent of the same. The magistrate also has powers to put any additional conditions deemed necessary to protect and provide safety to the aggrieved person. The magistrate has the powers to impose obligations on the respondent, like payments of rent, providing the basic amenities in the residence. There are various monetary reliefs which can also be passed by the magistrate. The magistrate can direct the respondent to meet the expenses and losses suffered by the aggrieved person as a result of the domestic violence, including loss of earnings, medical expenses, loss caused due to destruction and damage to property. The respondent can be directed to pay maintenance to the aggrieved person as well as the children. Such order can be passed in addition to any order under section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code. The magistrate also has the powers to grant temporary custody of the children to the aggrieved person and also make necessary arrangements for the visitation of the respondent. While deciding the custody and the visitation issue, the welfare and the interest of the children is of paramount importance. Therefore, visitation can be refused if the magistrate is of the opinion that it is harmful in the interest of the children. In addition to all these reliefs, the magistrate can pass compensation orders for injuries, mental torture, emotional distress caused by acts of domestic violence. The magistrate further has powers to grant ex parte orders if deemed necessary and also interim orders based on the affidavit of the aggrieved person. The proceedings under this Act are governed by the Code of Criminal Procedure. However, it is also provided that the court can lay its own procedure for the disposal of the application under this Act. The aggrieved person is entitled for free certified copies of any orders passed under the Act. The orders passed under this Act are enforceable orders. Breach of protection orders or an interim protection order is an offence under section 31 of the Act and is punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 1 year or with fine which may extend to Rs 20,000. The offence is triable by a magistrate and it is cognizable and non-bailable. When framing charges for the offence under section 31, the magistrate is also empowered to frame charge under section 498A of IPC and the Dowry Prohibition Act if the facts disclose the commission of such acts. For breach of orders of maintenance, the court can resort to the procedure laid down under section 125(3) of the Criminal Procedure Code. The court can direct deduction of the amount from the salary of the respondent. The amount can be recovered by attaching the property of the respondent, and the respondent can also be arrested and imprisoned. The court is empowered to give police protection to the aggrieved person for enforcement and implementation of the order, for assisting the aggrieved person to enter the shared household, to collect her belongings, to take custody of the children, etc. The Act also provides for counseling and mediation for amicable settlement of dispute between the parties. At any stage of the proceedings, the parties can be directed to undergo counseling and mediation. This alternate dispute resolution is necessary in an attempt to save family relationships and protect the children from emotional repercussions. Violence against women has a far deeper impact than the immediate harm it causes. It has devastating consequences on the woman who experiences it and traumatic effect on those who witness it, particularly the children. Therefore, effective response to such violence is needed. Thank you.
Truly, the information given to us by Madam shall definitely assist needy women. I thank you very much on behalf of the Goa State Legal Services Authority. Namaskar.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण
न्यायालयातल्या कारवाई खातीर बरो वकील मेळून दिता.
वेळार योग्य कायदा खालची मदत आणि सल्लो दिता.
लोक अदालत द्वारा चड काळच्या केसीक बेगीन सोपयता
आणि ते बी सामके मोफत.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण बेस बरो न्याय बेस बरो समाज.
अधिक माहिती खातीर लागच्या न्यायालयातल्या न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण कार्यालया लागीं संपर्क करा
वा टोल फ्री नंबर 151000 चेर फोन करा.